Hello, my name is Turner Grant Bazen, and this is my symposium presentation. This presentation is called an EXA-inspired demon feeding case study, and I'm really excited to share it. About me, I am a third-year expressive arts therapy graduate student at CIIS. Loving the program. I'm appreciative of my teachers and my classmates, my cohort. It's been great. I'm completing my practicum at the Humboldt Family Service Center in Humboldt County, California. I am a husband and father of two young boys. My bachelor's degree is in film, and a little bit about my personality. Larger political issues have always really caused me to stress. I've always struggled with big group setting change. But one on one work, human interaction, has always been what I've loved to do. Um, I have a deep belief in the potential good in all humans. And this comes from my late mother. She was the sort of person who would never talk bad about anyone, and it used to drive me nuts. But after her passing, that's something that I really took on. Improv, singing, and acting has always been my hobbies, my passions. And so this is something that I really love to bring to my therapeutic practice. And I do often. And yeah. The practicum site is the Humboldt Family Service Center. Humboldt Family Service Center is located in Eureka, California. It's a nonprofit, humanistic, client-centered, trauma-informed counseling service established in 1972. Little history about my community of Humboldt County. We have some of the highest ACE scores in the state. I've been told by my supervisor that we had the highest ACE score in the state. I found some stats here that Humboldt County is one of two counties that share the highest rate in California of residents who report an ACE score of 4 or more. A little bit about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. Significantly increased likelihood of experiencing mental illness, substance use disorder, cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, as well as many other less than desirable health and well-being outcomes. So that means for my work that my clients on average have a really high ACE score. This isn't always shared with me. I sit often with many of my clients, and it comes out at different times. Sometimes I've seen it in their file, and it's something that they don't bring up for a long period of time. And so my work, it's just a lot about walking with people and really always being ready for something to come up, which it does. And I feel blessed that this program has prepared me well to be ready when it does. This presentation overview, it's a case study. My client that I'll be presenting is a 19-year-old client. They'll go by a pseudonym JR. They're a 19-year-old heterosexual cisgendered white male. JR has autism, but it's highly functioning. He just got his 2-year degree in college. He deals with OCD hand washing. This got a lot worse during COVID. And that's a very common thing. And so this is something that we worked on a lot. He deals with a lot of depression and anxiety. I've seen him for 18 one-hour therapy sessions over a 7-month period. So we've really gotten to get to know each other. The part of our work that I'll be presenting is an EXA-inspired demon feeding practices that I did with him. Took place over 6 sessions in January, February, and March of 2025. what is feeding your demons? Hey, demon feeding is a Western adaptation of the Buddhist Chod practice. The translation of Chod means cutting through ego. And a demon, in our translation, there are many. The understanding of the word demon is always negative. Now, this word didn't always have such a negative connotation, but in the way we're using it, it is anything that hinders our liberation, our freedom, our ability to be content. Our version that I'll be using comes from an 11th century Buddhist monk, a female Buddhist monk named Machi Glabdran, and she's considered the mother of Chod. And the book that I found that really introduced me to the Feeding Your Demons practice was written by a woman, an American woman named Lama Tsultrim Alione. And she was actually given the manuscripts of Machi Glabdran in the early 1970s while practicing Buddhism in India. And she did the practice, and then over time she realized she really needed to adapt it for Western audiences because she realized how beneficial it was in a psychological setting. And so in 2009, she published the book, Feeding Your Demons, which is what I found and really changed my direction in my therapeutic treatment. So here's some other origins of the word demon. The Latin daemon meant spirit, not at all negative. The Greek daimon meant deity, divine power, lesser god, guiding spirit, tutelary deity. Daimon is divider, provider, provider of misfortunes and destiny. A lot of this negative connotation with the word demon, I think, came from the, Catholic, Christian, religious issues that they had with anything pagan, anything that didn't go against what they were teaching, and they were really focused on teaching the good, the good versus evil. And so I think that's where the concept of demon as always a bad thing came up. Okay, how to do this work? So this is a Buddhist practice, and to begin this work, we're always dedicating this practice for the benefit of all beings, because we're all one, right? If I'm doing harm to myself, doing harm to the whole world. If I'm doing harm to others, I'm doing harm to myself as well. And this goes for good and healing as well, right? So we're going to ground ourselves with some breath work. In the demon feeding practice, they do 9 breaths. I do at least 3 with my clients. More than 3 can sometimes be a little, I start to lose people, I notice. Okay, so after you've grounded with your breath work, we're going to locate our area of discomfort. When we're working with a demon at first, we want to start on a triggered level. If 1 is not triggering at all and 10 is the worst issue you have, I want to start with like a 2, 3, 4. And the demons can be physical pain, could be some frustration that you had with someone during the day, someone at work, in traffic. Obviously, it can go up to these. When we work with it more, we get into deep childhood traumas. But these are more intense issues, and we need to really build up to this. So we're gonna locate something that is bringing you discomfort or discord. Once you've located, we're gonna start we're going to create a mental picture of it or a sensed presence. So what does this demon look like? How big is it? What color is it? Is it translucent? Is it solid? Is it see-through? Let's form it in our brain, right? And then once it's fleshed out in our mind, we're going to bring in some EXA. And I have found that drawing it with just a pen or pencil and paper has been very effective. Of course, you can do sculptures, other things. You can do improv, you can act it out. But for me, the drawing of it has been the most effective way. And when we're doing art therapy, we're all art therapists here. So it's really important I tell my clients that there's no wrong way to do this. You can scribble, you can fold your paper, you can crumple, you can rip your paper. Whatever comes out for you is right. There's no wrong way to draw this. Okay, so now once it's personified, I like to give it a name. Ask my clients to write the name on the paper so that we can talk to it later. We're going to ask it 3 questions. These are: what do you want? What do you really need? And how would you feel if you got what you need? And what you want and what you really need are very different. What you want is often the negative thing that they're doing to you, like, I want you to suffer. But what you really need is, I need understanding. So once you've asked these questions, you're going to physically change places. Maybe I ask the client sometimes to move a little bit, move a little bit in their seats, maybe move from one seat to the other. We're going to move and answer these questions as the demon, right? So once we've answered the question, usually in the what we really need, it's going to be something like comfort, peace, grounding, understanding. And I always like to invite my clients to draw a bottle of an elixir or a tincture, or it could be a food that they really like with this name on it. This is what we're going to be feeding this demon, right? So now we're going to mentally feed this demon what it has asked for. All right. Now, often, it's important to understand that every demon is also an ally. Every demon has an ally in it. So that's why this work is so powerful, that the stronger the demon, the stronger the ally, right? So this is the stronger the trauma, the stronger the potential for power, right? This is all energy that we're working with here. So we're going to ask it if it's an ally. Often it will say, yes, I'm now an ally. Now, if the demon says, no, I'm still a demon, we're going to invite the demon to say, hey, can I talk to the ally in you? And every demon has an ally in it, because the way we work with it, they all are good intentioned. They all want to be good. They've just been, the way they've interacted with us has been negative, right? So after we realize, yes, it's an ally, we're going to ask it, how can I access you in the future, ally? How will you help me in the future, right? And then we'll answer as the ally. This is how you can access me. This is how I will help you in the future, all right? So once it's become an ally and we know how we can access it in the future, then invite this demon to dissolve back into our body, our being, right? And obviously after this, we're going to do some good grounding work. We're going to thank the clients, thank the demons, thank the ally, thank ourselves, because this is deep work. Bring it down slow. We're not going to end too hot. We want to really calm everyone. All right. In preparation for this work, I really recommend that clients don't come in too hot, and so something that I have noticed is highly effective for me is some sort of body movement work. So I recommend that my clients do movement, exercise. It could be a walk, hike, yoga, weights, swim, bike. It's very important that I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm inviting you to do this, some sort of movement on your body, your vessel, right? This reminds our body that we're here for it, and gives our being this like deep understanding that we'll be here. If there's pain and suffering and discomfort, like, we're gonna tend to it and we recognize it, right? And look at this amazing quote I found. Physical activity and exercise can reduce stress and anxiety, boost happy chemicals, improve self-confidence, increase brain power, sharpen the memory, increase our muscles and bone strength. It also helps in preventing and reducing heart disease, obesity, blood sugar fluctuations, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. Hey, these is a very similar list to what the ACEs cause to be negative in our lives. So exercise is literally a wonderful antidote for the negative health effects that adverse childhood experiences can give us, right? Beautiful. I saw an interview with a longevity expert, and he said, if you could put the benefits of daily exercise in a pill form, it would be the most highly selling, best-selling medicine ever known to humanity. Right? But we can't put it in a pill. But we do have our motivation. It's just a great thing to know. I'm a laugher. I'm a laugher. I've laughed through all of the many traumas and traumatic experiences in my life. I truly believe laughter has saved my life in many ways. So I talk to my clients and a lot about it, that when it gets intense, I may laugh, but I don't laugh at you. I laugh to remind you and me that we're both still alive. We're both laughing. We're both living. Okay? And this hasn't been an issue because I've done a good job at explaining to my clients that this is how I work. I work with joy as well. I'm not afraid to bring joy into any situation. There's a quote on laughter. Its complementary use is gaining acceptance as more research is providing its therapeutic potential in the area of evidence-based medicine. There's some evidence that laughter is good for us. Here's the case study. The client will be referred to by the pseudonym JR. JR is an autistic adult, 19-year-old, heterosexual, cisgendered white male. JR deals with OCD, hand washing, anxiety, and depression. And here's some info about working with clients with autism, because it can be different. They're more sensitive. Social issues are harder, and it's harder for them to understand sometimes what your intention is. So attending a therapy session involves meeting a new person, speaking with them about personal information, and building rapport over time. All processes can be challenging for the autistic adult. So it's really important to understand this when working with them. And when I briefly read through JR's file, it stated that he was distrusting of others and did not like to answer his phone or share any info. And this played out on our first few sessions. We spent the first 2 sessions when he would not turn his video on, and his answers were very short. It was hard to get anything out of him. And, I made a decision late in our second session because I realized that he grew up very close to where I grew up. And, when sharing personal information, this is a decision that you have to make on your own, but I chose to share with him that we'd grown up in a similar area, and we started talking about that area. And he began to open up when I talked about that. And then on the third session, JR showed up with the camera on. He just showed up, said, "Hi, Turner." He was ready. He was ready to work, and I was shocked. And I had prepared to have no video on, but there he was. And I knew that I had gained this rapport that I had wanted to find, and I was excited. I was like, okay, let's get to work. And JR had shared with me that he loved to draw, and so I kind of brought up the concept of doing this demon work because I'd been studying and I'd read the book by that time. And so the first one we worked with was on his OCD, obsessive hand washing. And the first demon was his fear of germs. And you can see the above picture. JR's very gracefully allowed me to use his drawings. So I really appreciate him for allowing that. And so the first drawing was of germs, and he named them Schmiegel. And we worked with that. And then the next demon feeding work that we did was on his immune system. So here he drew system, and we worked with that, and we worked with, working with the fear of his immune system not being able to protect him. Both these sessions went really well, and I could feel that he was gaining confidence and bravery. So after that, JR had really shared with me that he was excited about this work and he wanted to keep going. And then in this next session, he kind of just brought it out. He said, "I want to work with my most difficult issue." And I was like, "Oh, great." It was amazing. I was like, "This is so awesome." And then he said, "This issue is about my father's abandoning me and his family when I was a young man." And here we go. Here's some transference, because this is my own personal most difficult issue and demon of my own. So I felt it. I was like, whoa. But through the work, the transference work that I've done at CIIS, I knew that this is a moment of transference. And I need to remind myself that I'm safe. I need to breathe. And I calm myself quickly, as quickly as I could, and sort of put my own feelings about my issues on the shelf. I'll get to you later. Right? But yeah, there was the transference. It really happened for me. But I was able to calm myself and move on with this work. So as we begin our final demon feeding session that I'll be sharing in this case study, I had JR imagine and draw the demon, and he drew a picture of his father. And here's the drawing that we worked on. And it was beautiful. And one thing to know about working with demon feeding is that the demons that we're working with, if it's from a person, an interaction that we've had with a person, a family member, we're not working with that family member. We're working with our experience, our intuited experience of what we'd gone through, because of that person. So because of that, we're able to maybe apologize for this person, even if they wouldn't apologize, themselves, because we are working with the memory, we are working with the experience in ourselves, right? So when I asked him what this demon needed, JR said his father needed a new axe, a chainsaw, and a wheelbarrow. And then he drew them, and I found this really beautiful. He was so caring, about this person who'd wronged him and his family. So he drew them. And then after he drew them, and then I had him draw the elixir. I think it was, I can't read it up here, but I think it's like calming or peace. He sort of looked at me like he wanted to keep going. And we had talked a little bit about forgiveness at the time, and he didn't know how he felt about it, but I decided to ask him. I said, "Would you like to apologize for your father in this drawing?" And I reminded him that he was apologizing for his memory, not for his actual father, and he said yes. And I asked if he wanted to write it, and he wrote, "I'm sorry, son." It was really powerful. And then after he did that, he was still ready. He was still ready to keep going, I could tell. So then I invited him to draw him. I said, "Would you like to draw yourself in the drawing, saying that you forgive you?" And he said yes. And he drew himself in, saying, "I forgive you, Poppy," carrying the wheelbarrow. And this was a moment I knew. I was like, this work is amazing. And I knew I was at a real powerful moment of change. And this is what I had hoped for. So after this, we did a lot of grounding work. We decompressed for a while, because I think JR was proud of being so brave and doing this work, but he was also a little surprised that he went so far. So we took a long time to come down after this, and it was really one of my most powerful moments so far in doing therapy with clients. Okay, so thank you. And so I have some other possible iterations on the demon feeding work. Like you could draw a timeline, like a life timeline of birth and to where we are now. And at certain points in your life, there could be like, oh, I broke a bone, traumatic injury. There's a demon. You draw the demon there. This point in my life, I drank too much. I was drinking too much alcohol. There's another demon. My parents divorced. Another demon, right? And we could also do sculptures, collages, dance or movement to represent the demons. Okay, and some questions for you all is what sort of EXA forms could you see working with the demon feeding? Other EXA ideas that you have that could work with this? And how did you feel when you first heard the word demon? What did that bring up in you? When I said that I was doing a demon feeding practice. Also, what sort of clients do you think this work would be best suited for? Are there clients that you don't think would be good for? Some you think it would be more effective, right? That's that. Here are my references. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Be well, and good luck on all your work as well.